Hey, Patrick Mahomes, can I use some of your black magic that you use to somehow win games to, do well in classes? Because I'm going to need it, like, desperately.
Welcome back, everybody, to the James and Dame Show. I'm Will James.
I'm Josiah Damas.
You get tired of being called Dames.
No, I don't get tired of being called Dames. I think it's just funny how we just, want to be pronounced right.
Yeah.
Boo-hoo.
But this is the
Womp womp. Sorry.
Week 5 preview. Yeah. We've had a pretty interesting first 4 weeks, and we're looking forward to getting into it. We'll start, I think, with some power rankings.
No, we'll see. We'll
unpopular. Number 10, I have the Commanders.
I'm not upset about that. I'm not upset.
They're playing well. They're leading their division, which is a large part of the reason why you're going to notice someone else isn't in here. Also for other reasons. Taking some L's last week. But they're playing well. Their offense has looked really efficient. Jaden Daniels has been great. It's just they keep it up. They're going to keep going up. But number 9, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers, as much as it pains me. Just because they kind of were up there last week. So they did drop down a little bit in my book. But I still like them better than some of the teams below them. Number 8, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah,
Sure.
you had a rough week against the Broncos, but I mean, it was just game plan. Like, it was a rough loss, but you come back and you look great against the Eagles.
Yeah.
And I mean, you looked good pretty much every week except that week 3 game. So, I mean, I think you're okay. I think you're
fine.
You're okay at 8, and you got some people that you can definitely pass up above you. Number 7, the 49ers, just because it felt weird to not have them in the top 10. Dominant win for the 49ers this last week, obviously over the Patriots, but I mean, they're still a really good team. They're banged up for sure, but I mean, if they continue to win, they'll get back to where we thought, and if they stay on the pace that they're at, they'll probably drop out shortly. So,
Yeah.
And then
I agree with that.
And then my number 6 is the Houston Texans, who some people might have them top 5. I do not.
That's fair.
Mostly because their offenses looked good. Their rushing game was not as effective last week, or it really has been the past 2 weeks. And again, they're moving the ball. They got a lot of strong pieces. Nico Collins is doing phenomenal, but they're struggling. They struggled to kind of put up points, or as much points as they maybe should be expected to, and just. That Minnesota loss really knocked you down a little. Just the fashion that it was.
Yeah, the fashion it was. It can definitely knock them down.
So, yeah, that's... I mean, again, you're at 6. You have plenty... I think you'll have plenty of opportunity to move top 5.
I'm going to put Niners at 10, Steelers at 9. Commanders have impressed me, so they get to have 8. Tampa is up to 7. 6, I'm going to also agree with the Texans statement as number 6, because with how they lost to the Vikings, it wasn't pretty, but they're still a good team. And then I guess moving into the top 5 now, I have the Ravens there right now, only because I'm still trying to figure out if they're going to get over their choking habits, especially in the second half. They didn't do it during the Bills, which is a good thing. I'm still thinking of the first 3 weeks right now, so it's a little, bitter for me right now. But they can improve. So that's who I have right now at number 5.
And that's a fair point. I actually agree. I have Ravens at 5 as well. I was not planning. I think the highest I would have put them is 4.
4 was very generous if they got put up there.
If some of the games played out a little differently, I would have considered putting them up at 4. But I kept them at 5. They
look good, but they're not solid. So I'm assuming the next few weeks will kind of solidify their position for a while. Moving on to number 4, just looking at, I know the NFL has their own power rankings. Mine doesn't mirror them, but I have it arranged differently. I actually have the Chiefs down at number 4 right now. Only because of how they've been winning has not been convincing. I need to see offensive production not constantly being bailed out by talent and everything. They're giving me 2016, 2017, 2018 Steelers right now, where they constantly being bailed out by talent half the time, and they don't really solidify, they don't win games convincingly, if that makes sense, where they just somehow miraculously win a game once in a while. Except the Chiefs have been doing that for 3 weeks, and then this week was kind of it was a deserved win. So I have them at 4. I know some people are going to be mad at me about that one, but you haven't really convinced me that you've won the other 3 games. So
yeah, I mean, obviously we talked a little bit about it on the live stream on Sunday, but I figured you were going to have them a little at least outside the top 3.
They were definitely outside the top 3, but they're definitely top 5 still.
Yeah. I figured with giving your 5 through 10, I was like, well, they're probably 4 then. So I kind of figured that was the case. I have the Lions just because Lions look good. Again, they stumbled against the Buccaneers. They stumbled there a little bit.
Well, Buccaneers are still top 10 teams, so I'm not
They are. I didn't
concerned.
knock them down. It's not like I knocked them down very far for that, but it's also your offense was questionable the first 3 weeks, and this was a very interesting thing. Headed on the way here, I saw it on a TV, was people talking about, is the Lions offense the best offense in the league? And I'm like, no. What it should be, yes, but have one game over 30 points?
Yep.
They've not been living really up to the hype.
It's been a lot of defense those first few games.
Yeah, I'll give them the credit. Their defense has stepped up big, except against the Seahawks, because it never happens.
It never happens with the Seahawks, so that's the asterisk right there.
But looking at it, it's just their offense, other than 1 week, has kind of been underwhelming.
It's a little high, but also I didn't want to drop them below placement wise. I have the Bills up at 3 right now. I know that's a little high, but with how things have been shaking out, it hasn't been, I don't know, Chiefs haven't been convincing with their wins. Ravens, I'm still worried about their second half performances. Texans with their loss against the Vikings. It was kind of a toss up between where I wanted to put the Bills right now. Putting them at 3 feels a little weird though. I don't know. It's a little high for me.
I will support this because I also have the Bills at 3, largely because last week they were my number 1, and you lose to a Ravens team who was 1-2, yes, but also with how they played last week, if they keep going on the trend, if they continue on their path, you're looking at a team. You're suffering a loss to a team that looks like they could be the best team in the league. Mm-hmm. And again, this is not me just trying to be biased, but it's also if the Bills, with how they were playing, lose in that fashion
Listen.
to a team, if the Ravens played that well, if the Ravens can continue that, who's going to stop them?
Yeah.
I don't know. Again,
To be determined.
Josh Allen looked like a MVP candidate going into the week. The Bills looked borderline unstoppable. Their offense was great. Their defense was great. And I still think a lot of that's true. They just struggled.
I think for number 2, it's going to have to be the Lions, only because they lost to the Buccaneers. Vikings, on the other hand, I'm rather impressed. Sure, the 4-0 start, obviously there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be critical of that. Like, oh, you only beat these teams, or oh, you didn't do as well as you said you were going to, or whatever. Well, they beat the Texans. They beat the Packers with Jordan Love. So there you go. Sure, he didn't have his greatest performance right away, but he definitely got close towards the end. I mean, they also beat the 49ers. So there's 3 of 4 games where they've beaten top 10 teams, supposedly top 10 teams.
Yeah, I mean, again,
Oh, yeah.
like you mentioned, that's good. I had a feeling this would be the case. So our top 5 is pretty much the same, except our 2 and 4 are flipped.
2 and 4
I have the
yeah.
Chiefs at 2 because, like you mentioned, their wins have not been convincing.
Yes.
You just lost Rashee Rice. Yes, you're still undefeated, but
It's a very much
took-
of a unconvincing 4-0 start.
and you just took another hit. Now you're out your top running back and your top receiver. Maybe Travis Kelce starts actually stepping up, but you're bad. Like, you're losing some big weapons, and it's gonna be hard going forward to see. Like, again, despite them not winning super convincingly, they're still doing it,
Yes.
and you've done it against. I mean, no team technically over 500 right now, but you did it against the Falcons, you did it against the Ravens, you did it against the Bengals, who were playing way below their pay grade, but
Yeah.
and then you just did it against the Chargers, who have kind of proven that they can still play pretty well. As that leaves left, it is weird, but I do have the Vikings at 1 because they're undefeated and
They're
they've done it
undefeated. They've
very convincingly.
Beat 3 really good teams.
Quality wins.
Yeah, very much quality wins.
Like, it doesn't make sense because it's like Sam
Darnold?
but like
Sam Darnold?
it makes sense when you look at, like, the defense has been great.
Yeah.
You have Justin Jefferson. You just got back Jordan Addison. You have Aaron Jones. You're gonna get back T.J. Hawkinson.
Oh, definitely.
Like, they were doing this stuff without Jordan Addison prior to the last week.
And now they have him, so
Yeah,
it's
and
going to even
they're
be
doing-
more explosive.
They're doing it without TJ, and they're gonna get him back. And it's like, obviously, you're gonna have to wait and see. I'm not saying like they're only going to get better and they're gonna go 17-0. It's not what I'm saying. Could it happen? Sure. I'm not. I don't think so. But
Vikings being the first team to be undefeated in a regular season into the postseason and winning the Super Bowl would be something funny.
yeah, I mean,
It would be hilarious. I don't think that's going to happen, but it would be hilarious to be the first team.
yeah, it's. Again, that's not what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
right now, kind of look like the best team, especially with, again, Bills taking a step back and Chiefs getting battered up. Some teams kind of making comebacks, but I think it's kind of the Vikings' spot to lose.
Yeah, as of right now, it's they only have to lose. They lose a game, they drop a spot or 2. Now we're gonna go over to predictions for Week 5. So for Thursday night game, we got Buccaneers visiting the Falcons. With how the Buccaneers are playing recently, especially against the Eagles, I'm not saying the Eagles are good, but they're also not bad. I do have the Buccaneers winning this one. Falcons, however, will probably keep it closer than people will think it would be. A lot of people are very they don't believe in the offense that the Falcons currently have, especially with how Kyle Pitts has been playing. I mean, Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins. He's still going to do stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Falcons do pull off an upset here. But as of right now, the Buccaneers should win this game.
Yeah, I'm going Buccaneers as well, just because I think it will be close because that's how Atlanta's been playing it. Their defense has done well, but I don't see. I mean, it's going to come down to the Tampa Bay defense. Are you going to have? I'm slightly concerned that they might have a game like they had against the Broncos, but I think this week is not going to go that poorly for them. I think they're going to be okay. So I'm going to go Broncos. Buccaneers beat Falcons. Yeah.
Going to the Sunday noon slate, we're going to see the Jets playing the Vikings.
Sorry, Rodgers.
Sorry.
I mean, I think Rodgers is someone who could take down that team. And I think that's
definitely. Rodgers could definitely take down the Vikings.
But the Vikings have beaten good teams.
The Vikings are looking really good right now, especially with what we've been just talking about. So I am going to go with the Vikings as well. Surprise me, Aaron Rodgers, if you can. But the Jets are probably going to go 2-3. I mean, we kind of predicted they'd have a slow start anyways.
Yeah, so. It's not against the. It doesn't seem like it's against the teams we expected. But
no, but they're going to be slow. Let's see here. We got Panthers visiting the Bears.
I'm so back and forth on this game because
this is one of those games where if we can think of the Panthers 2 weeks ago against the Raiders, they did very good. Last week against the Bengals, they somehow kept up with the Bengals. This week with the Bears, though.
Yeah, the difference is I think the Bears' defense is definitely better than the Bengals.
This is the first real defense that they'll actually play, I think.
Andy Dalton, at least.
And Andy Dalton will face, at least. I think the Bears will win this. I just don't know how the Panthers are going to be preparing for this matchup, mostly because they know for a fact that the Bears have a solid defense. I guess in this scenario, this will be a very low-scoring game. I can see this being a very low-scoring game, mostly because Bears still struggle on offense. Bears have a good defense, so therefore the Carolina Panthers could struggle a bit on offense.
Yeah, I think the thing I'm also going Bears. I think the thing that is kind of deciphering that for me is literally just the fact that you look at obviously the thing that's really up in the air is, can the Bears run an offense? And the first 3 weeks that was a no, but they figured out it wasn't good.
It wasn't good, but it was something better than what they have been putting up on the field.
It was enough with how the defense and special teams had played for them to win a game. Mm-hmm. And if they can continue if they can continue to have a at least average offense and run the ball,
give it to Swift,
give Caleb a little bit of time to throw, I think this is like in clear favor of Carolina, or not in Carolina, Chicago. But I think Carolina, if they can force some mistakes and kind of stifle that that offense for Chicago, I think even if they only put up 12 points, I think they could pull away. So I think it's going to come down to Chicago's offense. Can they continue to utilize what they had last week, and maybe even take it a step forward? I think you have a win if that's the case, because I think your defense just asks basically the least of you.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Chicago. I don't feel great because you've only done it once.
Yeah.
But we're gonna ride the ship. So
Bears win. The Bears. Now we have the Ravens visiting the Bengals. Gee, I wonder who you're gonna pick.
I wonder who you're gonna pick.
Well,
yeah, that's the thing. It's the same thing, isn't it?
It is. They are not favored to win this game, by the way. Bengals. Only reason is because if I know how the Bengals work, specifically in the trend for like the last 3 years, they'll start winning games and they'll start being competitive again. Obviously, the Panthers are their first wake-up call. If they lose this game, Bengals are not going to the playoffs. I feel like this is like their test. If they can't keep it close with the Ravens, they're not going to the playoffs. I do think the Bengals can pull off a win. Ravens, not saying that you guys are bad. It's just divisional games are hard in the AFC North. You tend to split them a lot. This might be the split right here.
I'm going Baltimore, obviously, but I actually feel good. Like this is not like it's not like last week where I was like Baltimore because
better team.
Buffalo. I don't know. This week, especially again, Bengals are coming off a win against the Panthers, but they allowed over 100 rushing yards. Their defense just has not looked great. And what we just did to the Bills, I feel pretty good that Derrick Henry could get another 50 yards on the Bengals. They struggled containing Lamar last year.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's just the Ravens are probably going to win, but I'm going to choose the Bengals because Joe Burrow. I don't know, because there's always something weird that happens with the Bengals. Like they start terribly, but they win. They win like the next 8 games, kind of thing. Like it doesn't make sense.
It's annoying.
It is annoying for you guys, but it's just how it's been working for the last 3 years. So it's either this game or the next game that they're going to just start winning out for some reason.
Yeah. Again, Baltimore, just because I think our offense, if we can keep up game plan, we'll be able to get some going in. Derrick Henry will be able to we'll have probably just go against the run defense that has not done well. And if our D-line can do what we did against the Bills, against the Bengals, who are kind of banged up on the O-line, and give, Joe Burrow a rough time in the pocket, if we can show the same team we had last year, this should be an easy win. And that's not to say that's just like the Bengals are bad, but we kind of match up well with their weaknesses.
You do match up well with their weaknesses. So I am not going to be surprised if the Ravens do win. So I'm just going for an upset right now. It might be an upset for ESPN. Speaking of upsets, ? Dolphins visiting the Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to beat the Dolphins. I'm not convinced the Dolphins are going to fix anything.
They don't know how to run an offense without Tua, and for that reason, I'm going. Even though the Patriots have looked rough the last few weeks,
they don't have a great roster.
Yeah, well, talent-wise,
they're probably more comfortable with their position than the Dolphins are in theirs. So that's why I'm picking the Patriots.
They both have good defenses, but offenses that have just struggled. I don't see. They have to figure out how to use Tyler Huntley. The Dolphins do, because if you can't get over 100 passing yards, you're not playing away in this game.
Yep.
You need to figure out how to move the ball, and they haven't done it without Tua for years.
Yes.
So I'm going Patriots. It might be an ugly
It's going to be an ugly win, but it's going to be a win regardless.
I can see like a 13-6.
Yeah, it might end up being that low of a score.
Moving on to Cleveland visiting the Commanders.
The Commies. That being said, I think the Commies will win. Commanders specifically, not the actual. Anyways, the Commanders, they'll definitely beat the crap out of the Cleveland Browns right now. I mean, without Nick Chubb and everything on that offense, the Commanders' defense won't have to worry about too many things, but they'll have to, be aware of like Amari Cooper for the most part, I would say. Other than that, the Commanders have this in the bag. All they got to do is just continue what they're doing on offense, contain 1 or 2 players on defense, and you're pretty much fine, I'd say.
Yeah, this is a week that concerns me because, again, I'm liking the Commanders. Their offense has been doing well. They haven't been going up against great defenses the past few weeks, but still, like they're doing well. They're doing well. They're game planning well. Jaden Daniels is being efficient. It's just there's some concerns that Deshaun Watson could actually pick apart a Commanders defense. Their defense hasn't been great, and it was good. It was good last week, but pretty much any other week it was not. They really struggled, and I think Amari Cooper could go for big yards and potentially points if the Browns can pull it together. And not saying that that's likely or favorable of an option, but
it is.
I think if it's game planned properly, Cleveland could be in potential upset range.
Yeah, I can see that. It's just I don't trust that Browns offense right now.
Oh no.
So that's why I'm a little hesitant of choosing the Browns if they were going to upset anybody.
Yeah, it's again. I'm still going to Commanders, but it's just I have a weird feeling about this week.
Yeah.
Indy versus Jacksonville.
Do you know your history with these two?
It's that Indianapolis usually wins in Jacksonville, right?
Nope.
Is it that they never win in
They
Jacksonville?
never win in Jacksonville, I believe.
That's great because I was gonna go Jacksonville anyways. Literally, not even for the reason that it's like. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how long Richardson's out, and how well Flacco really does in that scheme. But the Jaguars have to get they're playing bad, but they're not that bad to where they're gonna get a win somewhere. And I think Indianapolis, when they're playing at home, and like you mentioned, historically they're pretty good at home against Indianapolis, kind of just reaffirms that. You might see Jacksonville kind of show what they can be this week. Doug Peterson might
oh my gosh,
stretch his
So the last time the Colts have beaten Jacksonville in Jacksonville was 20. This seems a little long. 2014. 44-17. Ugh, it's not looking too promising for the Colts. I'm also going to go Jacksonville. With how sloppy they've been, I know it's hard to believe in a chance that they would win this game, but the Colts never win in Jacksonville. If they do in this game, congratulations, you broke your curse. However,
10 years.
Yeah, it is Joe Flacco, as great as he is as a backup and somehow making the Browns go to the playoffs last year. He's not going to be amazing, you know? It's hard to see the Colts winning in Jacksonville.
Yeah, it's just one of those cases where the Colts don't have a great defense. You have the pieces to beat them. Really, your threat is, can you stop Jonathan Taylor? Which, I mean,
Jacksonville can. They have an okay defense.
They have the pieces to do what they need to. They've not looked good in any facet, but I feel like a lot of that is going towards coaching.
Yes. Then we got the Bills visiting the Texans at a noon game. Who are you thinking?
I'm going to trust my power rankings and also just that Bills went up against a Ravens team last week who were just going on every facet. They were
firing on all cylinders is basically what you're saying. I am going to assume that you're going to choose the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
I am also going to choose the Bills only because revenge game a bounce back week for the Bills. They're playing their old teammate Stephon Diggs. The Bills have looked, I can't tell if it's just the first 3 weeks though. They've looked more together as an offense without Diggs, if that makes sense. I think Allen is going to do really well. If this ends up being a high-score game, I wouldn't be surprised either, because, Stephon Diggs might want to ball out, per se. I don't know. For me, it's debating on whose loss stings more, the Texans with the Vikings or the Bills with the Ravens. I don't know which one. I think right now I'm leaning towards the Vikings win over the Texans because the Texans haven't truly recovered. They struggled against Jacksonville.
Yeah, but they also they played
that's
the Colts
concerning.
close. Can't remember who they played week 2.
I don't know. If you struggle against Jacksonville and you win by 4 points on a pass to the end zone and you somehow pull off a miracle victory, I don't know how you're going to go up against the Bills. So,
yeah, I mean, this is where it gets interesting. I think the loss for Houston to the Vikings was worse. I think they put up a much worse fight.
yes.
Compared to how the Bills played against the Ravens. But the difference is, from the way that I look at it, morally, I think the Texans are in a better place because I think Buffalo is kind of very distraught after starting the way they did, and then
They're angry.
yeah, well, it could turn into anger, and that could, if they play angry, that could help them. Mm-hmm. But it's just being on such a high horse and then getting slapped so hard in the face, kind of maybe morally they're just a little down. But I think bounce back is possible. I think Buffalo is a favorite of the AFC. They've been really, really good. If they can not get hung up on last week and actually continue what they were doing,
For sure.
I think they're in a great position.
They would be in a good spot if they would.
Yeah. Buffalo win.
Win. W.
On to, I got some afternoon games. Las Vegas at Denver.
They're both not good teams. It's hard to figure out who's better. I'm going to say the Broncos only because they've had recent success, especially if they can get the run game going, which is very likely at this point. If they can continue to do that, then they'll win. Raiders, yes, they do have a good defense. I'm just not. I mean, with the recent performances, it hasn't been amazing. I mean, they did get a couple picks off of Watson, I believe, last game against the Browns. But I don't know. Divisional games are hard to predict, especially this early in the season, because it could go either way. I'm going to lean towards Denver because they have the home field advantage, Mile High, and they have momentum as of right now. Not pretty momentum. They also did beat the Buccaneers.
Pretty handedly, too.
So they did. The Raiders have not convinced me they have beaten a good team yet. I think Broncos are probably going to win this game. If the Raiders do, I wouldn't be surprised either.
Yeah, I look at this game with a few things in mind. One being the Raiders have kind of had a good record against the Broncos recently.
Yes.
The other thing being just the way it matches up. It's going to come down to whose defense does what, because the Broncos have not been impressive on offense. If they can figure out how to play offense, I think they have a decent chance. But it's going to be who can force more turnovers, more mistakes. If the Broncos play a mistake-free offense, they might have a chance. But again, the Raiders have showed more promise on offense. They have sloppy at times.
Yes.
But if they can clean that up,
They can. If they can.
if they can be like they were the second half last week for most of the week coming up, their offense is think going to be okay. Again, Denver has really picked it up on defense the last few weeks, especially, showing that young defense actually
can do something.
Yeah, they can actually be really good.
So that's another thing is Raiders quarterback situation. That's another issue I have with.
Yeah, I mean Minshew has more experience, but
yes, but
he's also done more than Bo Nix has so far this year. But again, the key for the Broncos has been don't rely on Bo Nix. You know, you're 2-0 in games where your running back or where you have a running back over 50 yards. You keep up that trend, I think they have a pretty good chance, but I'm going to go with the Raiders. Just because. Moving on, though, to the Cardinals at the 49ers. This one's interesting because, again, I don't really know what's going on with the 49ers.
They still have a really good roster, though.
They do.
It's hard to win in Santa Clara. I do think the Cardinals will put up a decent fight, but not good enough. It'll be a high-scoring game, specifically catered for 49ers dominance, but the Cardinals might be able to put up some points here and there.
Yeah, it's been... Cardinals have kind of slipped off. Like, they started first 2 weeks, they looked pretty good, and then the last 2 weeks have not been as great.
No. No. Not good whatsoever.
49ers are 2-0 at home, and you got another home game, and they've looked good at home.
They are good. They are really good at home, so it's very hard to see a Cardinals win.
Yeah, I'm going 49ers.
Staying in California, we got the Packers visiting the Rams. This is going to be a Packers bounce back week. Packers should win this one. There's nothing much to say here, I guess.
Yeah, I'm also going Packers. The question is going to be, can McKinney make it 5-5? Because
he definitely could. Stafford, he's still a good quarterback. With him, though...
I'm just not having the weapons.
I don't know.
I like the key for Green Bay is going to be stopping Kyren Williams. He's been
Williams is going to be that
without Puka and Cooper Kupp. The Rams have just been relying on Kyren Williams. So if you can kind of stuff him, limit him, I think they'll have plenty of room. You'll have Jordan Love kind of hopefully have a better week. That being of less turnovers.
Oh yeah.
If he mitigates the turnovers, I think this is a pretty easy win for them. I think Packers are one of the better 2-2 teams.
For sure.
So, and it'll be Malik Willis's first win not Malik Willis, Jordan Love's first win on the year.
Yep.
So, much needed.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Oh. Deal.
Giants Seahawks.
Yeah. This is gonna be
Giants defense has been pretty solid.
Neighbors might cause some trouble for that Seattle secondary. However, overall, the Seattle Seahawks are a much better team than the Giants will ever be. Unless the Seahawks, for some reason, decide to fall apart. I don't know. I can see a Giants loss here. Seahawks with a convincing win. The last two games, for at least one Sunday night. Cowboys visiting the Steelers. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but the Dallas Cowboys are going to win.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think the Cowboys are going to win this one. Yes, it's been very unconvincing. However, I don't know. I trust Dallas's offense to rebound at some point because they're going to. Dallas is going to somehow still make it to the playoffs, I still think. Eagles are going to miss it if they're going to continue to play like they're playing. But Dallas can definitely turn things around if they really want to. I know it's early in the season. It's hard to predict what's going to happen later down the road. Yeah, it's looking like the Cowboys might have a rebound very soon. and what was it? They play the Giants, so a very easy competition there. They almost lost to them, yes. Steelers lost to the Colts. It was close. Steelers just messed up towards the end. A couple offensive issues with a couple penalties. This is a lose-lose scenario for you specifically. For me, it's also a lose-lose. So I don't like either of these teams when it comes to just, certain aspects. Yeah, I don't know. I think the Cowboys might win this one. Just, I don't know, momentum kind of shifted a little bit with the Steelers' offense and everything. So I don't know. I can see a Cowboys win. It's something weird about it.
You're wrong. I'm going Steelers.
You're going Steelers?
I'm hoping I can curse them somehow, maybe. Even last week, them playing sloppy and their defense letting up a decent amount. I don't see. It's another situation of, unless the game plan is right, I don't see how the Cowboys could pull this out because their run defense has been bad. Their run offense has been bad. And you're going up against, a really stout Pittsburgh defense. That run game is not. I don't see the run game getting anything going. They've generally leaned on the run game, especially utilizing Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I have no idea how they're going to stop that at all. And then on top of that, again, you still got T.J. Watt. He's going to be a menace for Dak Prescott. If the Steelers are smart, they'll line him up against Tyler Guyton, who has had many struggles with holding calls and just playing well.
Mm-hmm.
He's had many issues.
Yeah.
So it's just a mismatch. The Cowboys are struggling on the O-line, and if you cover CeeDee Lamb, you're going to be fine. I'm assuming the Cowboys still manage to get.
They'll make it a close game.
They'll get double-digit points, I think. The Steelers literally just need to attack them on the ground. And if Fields can have the same game he had last week, minus the turnovers, I think it's going to – I don't see this matching up well at all for Dallas.
Well, I don't know. I think the Cowboys are a better team than the Colts. Yeah, to finish off the previews – Saints visiting the Chiefs on Monday. Black magic is still going to occur. Chiefs are going to win. They're going to go 5-0.
Yeah, I mean,
there's not much you can do about it.
Again, I don't think the Chiefs are going to go undefeated, especially how banged up they are. They're going to drop one of these games
very soon. It's not going to be this week, though. It's probably going to be like the next 2 or 3 weeks.
The main reason I was going to go with the Chiefs is because of the fact that it's one of those things where it's like you pick them until they prove you wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Are you really considering to think that Saints are going to beat them?
Not only am I considering it, I'm going to go with the Saints. Just because again, they're gonna drop a game. They're banged up. You don't have Rashee Rice. You don't have Isaiah Pacheco. What are you gonna? You don't have a replacement for Rashee Rice at the moment. You're relying on Xavier Worthy. The Saints have had a good defense.
Mm-hmm.
If the Saints can kind of get that first 2 week offense back, I think the Chiefs could be in trouble. Again, I'm not saying like they should be the favorite.
No.
But I don't think the Chiefs are going to have a phenomenal year.
No.
And they've started off hot, but I think they're going to drop one of these games. I think the Saints are a good team to really do it. It's what really doesn't make me feel good about it is the fact that I'm picking the team who just choked against the team who choked against the Chiefs to beat the Chiefs. It does. It seems backwards, but I
Yes,
think
very backwards.
just injury-wise and how everything's set up, I think the Chiefs could definitely drop this game. And
Okay.
I don't know. It's like your Dallas pick. I think it's just one of those where it's
gut
just an
feeling.
upset. Just an upset. It's
Got
not
a
even
gut
like
feeling.
It's not even like a gut feeling. It's just like it's gonna happen at some point. So before we wrap up, we just want to recap kind of how Pick'em leagues are going, obviously, because obviously that's what we're doing here.
We are tied, right?
We are tied.
We are tied at
that,
second.
Dolphins game really did me numbers. I went 11-5. I believe you went 10
I went 10-6, I believe.
I believe. Wait, no, you went 9-7.
9-7. Yeah, I dropped a couple games this week.
And we're both tied for second. And we're gonna try and pronounce Jay Newen Cats.
Yeah, I think he has a game above us, right?
He's one game
He's
above
one
us.
game above us. So.
With just a really good week one.
He
so
really did.
congrats, you're in first for now. I'm making my comeback. I had really rough.
This fool thinks he's gonna win Pick'em leagues.
I have tied for the best record by week at 11-5, and
Yeah, for last week.
yeah, that's tied with-
Not so much the last week or the 2 weeks before that.
week 3.
You struggled.
Week 3, I just was
You struggled.
I did not put forth the effort that I needed to. So we'll see how these pan out. I feel certain ways about my picks. I have some concerns as far as some games go, but we'll see. Then we'll kind of recap this, how pick'ems are going, obviously, next week.
Yep.
So that's a week 5 preview, and we will definitely see you guys either in the live stream or next week when we recap these games.
Yep.
So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you then.
See ya.
Bye.